Hi, I'm Sam, and this is Slow Snail Stitching. Welcome or welcome back to my Flosstube, episode 3. It's a YouTube channel where we chit-chat about my cross-stitching hobby and occasionally whatever other crafty endeavors I'm getting up to. Right off the bat, if you've been here before, you know this is not where I usually film. You're catching me today at my work area, my desk, my stitchy area, my editing area. I sit here all day because I work from home, and usually I like to take it out of this spot every once in a while. So I was actually sitting down to edit the Flosstube that I filmed an entire week ago to finally get it posted. And as I started to edit, there was a couple things that I noticed. I was like, oh God, we must refilm the intro. I originally had my little dog sitting on my lap during the intro, and he was being so cute, but also a total menace and was like moving around, and his collar was jingle jangling the entire time. I guess my microphone really loved that sound and picked up on it over everything else. So it wasn't a nice little tinkling ASMR sound. It was truly just like a rustling, like click, 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 like horrible, not nice to the ear sound. So here we are. You've got future Sam re-filming the intro today. A couple other notes about the episode you're about to watch, if you continue on, is that one, the entire time I'm kind of alluding to like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to stitch a lot, or like I kind of allude to a health issue for like most of the episode, and finally I talk about it at the end. I have found that quite annoying as I'm rewatching. So really quick, off the bat, I'm having a hand issue and it has really impacted my stitching. I work at a desk all day and a computer, and all of my hobbies are using my hands. I've had some past surgeries that have now kind of, all of this is accumulating into my hand is just irritated. It's some tendons are upset with me because I've been using them too much. All that to say, since this last video, I have been to 2 doctors, and I am happy to announce I've got like a really great treatment plan, and I should be back at it here in the next couple weeks. So I do know now what's going on, and it's not as like a mysterious kind of like worrying thing. So as you're watching, I'm sorry about that. The other thing is, it is a pretty rambly episode. I was short on time when I was filming it, and so I felt like I was just kind of, getting while the getting's good. I was trying to film, but I was also trying to get through it. So maybe not my best episode ever. So if you choose to skip it, it is what it is. If not, thanks for hanging in there with past me. So let's travel back in time to last Thursday, and you can hear me talk about some cross stitching. Thanks for being here. Bye. All right, friends, welcome back. Cannot believe we have gotten through 3 episodes of this so far. I have some stuff to show you, maybe not as much as I thought I was going to have when I left you last. We can touch base on why that is and kind of go through some of the fun life updates I've got. But I figured for now, we can just jump right in, look at some of the stitching. It's what you're here for anyways. Can talk a little bit about my reading and hobbies over the last few weeks, and I'll leave you with that until next time. So let's get started. All right, today we are going to get started with some FFOs and a little bit of stitchy kindness. Let's do the kindness first because I'm really obsessed with this piece. My mom made this for me recently. I know I showed you guys a bunch of photos of Henrietta, my porch goose, my kitchen goose actually, and my mom, knowing that I'm obsessed with that goose, she stitched me this tiny little goose, put it in a tiny little frame. She got this frame from like a box of vintage stuff. I thought that was pretty cool. I just really love the colors. I think it's supposed to be a Christmas goose, but this is a year-round goose, much like Henrietta. So I'm loving that. I've got it hung up on my pegboard behind my desk area. Last time we chatted, one thing I said I was going to work on is the Adopt a Ghost 2025 edition for my son. I did it. I got it finished, and now it is living here with previous years. And here we go. So again, this was 2024's. I did go back and add the date down here, and this is 2025's. These stitch up so fast and are truly so adorable. The designer is Mama Witch X Stitch, and if you go on her Etsy, you can just type in, or you can look through and it just says Adopt a Ghost at the top. Anyways, lots of different cute versions of this. I think they have a cat. I think she's got like a little ghost sitting on the toilet on the phone. That was a big hit this year. If we hadn't picked this, I would have been stitching a ghost on the toilet. But yeah, so we've got these hung up. We'll keep them up through Halloween. And much to my son's dismay, I will take them back down and pull it out. Sorry, I was reading this in my phone. I was like, do I have this backwards? But no, it's not. Okay, perfect. So this is Adopt a Ghost by Mama Witch CrossStitch. And happy to have these finished. That was definitely a start and finish. I'm sorry, we have another visitor. Hi, Bubby. I can't see him. He's, oh, well, maybe you can. You can see a big old nose right here. This is my big guy, Blue. He's my other baby. Give me 2 seconds. I'm going to kick them out of the room because they're going to be noisy.
Go ahead. Get out of here. Get out of here.
Doggy distractions are gone. Let's move on. Next project I want to show you is the work I got done on October Mood by Embroidery. This is what it'll look like when it's done. And here's what it looked like the last time you saw it. And here is the work I have done. So you can see I pulled that border down and around. Yeah, this is on a 20 count Vanilla Latte by Bestitch Me. I really, really love this fabric color. I am so enjoying this stitch. Right now I'm loving all the little motifs, like getting in a piece of fruit or part of one of the motifs on the border, just, you know, one at a time has been really fun. It feels like you're making progress very quickly. You know, you get to see one little bit done fast. So you feel like you're making progress even if it is slower going. Again, I love the colors on this. I am using the Embroidery flosses. So super highly variegated. I will say over the past week though, when I have been stitching this, you know, going through all these little fruits, sometimes I would look at the reference photos like on the website and I felt like maybe it was a little bit more punchy. However, I think that is because I'm using one strand on 20 count. I do think that if I were to start over again, I would probably have done this on a higher count, maybe an 18 count, just so I could get 2 strands in easily and, you know, without having to pull it through just to get that extra color payoff. I am very happy with how it's looking right now. I do think it's bright enough, but I do think if I had used 2 strands on a smaller count, we would have had a bit of a better color payoff here. Also, did you notice I got a board? I feel like a ASMR. I just want to tap it, and I know that's not what people are here for. We're not here for ASMR content. I actually think it might be kind of annoying, but I didn't buy this. This is like a expo marker board that my son had. And I just said, well, let me borrow that for a minute. But yeah, I will say this is definitely what I've spent the most time on in the past couple of weeks. And I don't see myself stopping anytime soon. I'd like to continue at least through Thanksgiving before I put this away. Who knows? Maybe I'll pull it out of the bag and finish it. Probably not. And you'll hear why in a minute. Definitely, I'm not going to do that. I'd love to think it, but I'm not going to do it. So I'll keep working on it though. We'll see how much progress we can get. And I don't know, maybe it'll be more than I'm thinking. Next thing I want to show you is something that I said I was going to put away. And I didn't. I only stitched on it for a couple days though, and I was proud. I found the inner strength to put this project away, and that is Starry Night by Carriage House Samplings. And I really just wanted to get some of the fill-in right here done. So this was mindless, very easy, just, you know, row after row of fill in. I kind of like it. It's, you know, I don't have to think too hard when I'm doing that. I continue to want to work on this all the time. And whenever I finish this, I'm like, man, am I a house stitcher now? Maybe, because I'm going to show you a project I have kind of waiting in the wings. I'm thinking about doing a little bit of a series here, so talk about that later, but this is what we've got going on right now. Again, this is a 20 count black Ada, if you've never heard me talk about it before, and I did a color conversion here. So these are not the called for colors. I wanted something punchy, I wanted something green and slimy, and this is what we got, and I love it. I just can tell it's gonna be great when it's finished. I'm still deciding on the color frame. And I don't know if I just want to let the house be the punchy piece, if I want to try to color match the house with the frame. I'm not quite sure, but that is where we're at with it. Probably won't work on this much in the coming weeks. I want to, but I'm not going to. I really have to conserve, I won't say my energy, because who actually has energy these days anyways, but I do want to, you know, work on the things that need to be worked on. All right, next project, Twigs and Tea, stitch along. There have been a couple parts that have come out now. I have stitched 2 of the 3 parts that are currently out, and I've gotten some exciting work done on this since you last saw it. In one of my last videos, I mentioned that I will be beading a large portion of this project, and I was planning on waiting to do that at the very end, but just to be frank, I couldn't wait anymore. It was calling my name the other day. I felt like beading something, and so I sat down, did a couple parts of it, and then beaded the pieces that I was ready to bead, and here is what we've got. So I'm gonna kind of slowly pull this up so you can see what we got going on. So I've added beads into these frames. On this side, we've got some pretty blue beads. And this side, we've got these like fuchsia pink ones. Coming down, you can see the beadwork on this side and on the goose, Lucy Goose Lock. My favorite ones is that I beaded the buttons here and a little piece in her bow. Let's get you closer. All right, and then with this tablecloth, I did some beaded fringe, which I just love the sparkle that the beads are bringing to this project. So we will keep it in this big Q-snap moving forward. But really, this is, if I didn't say it already, the Twigs and Tea Sal by Fry and Frog Stitching. Stitching on 16 count Witch's Garden Crafts fabric in tea time. It was the called for fabric. Doing all the called for colors here, but like I said, the only thing I'm substituting is the beads. So really, you know, in any different part that comes out, I've just been picking and choosing, like, where can I add beads that might give it a little something extra. The latest part is an owl, and I have not had the chance to sit down and really put work into him yet. I need to do it. I don't want to get behind. I love that I have kept up with this thus far. So I will probably work on that this weekend. It's getting a little awkward to talk around this. Let me just give y'all a life update, because I'm like, when am I going to work on things? I don't know. And you're like, spit it out. What's happening? So the other day when I was working on this, I did it all day. I was like, I'm going to do a start and finish. One day, watch me go. Okay. I usually don't do that. I don't have the time typically to sit down and cross stitch all day long. I mentioned I've got a young child who is a go kind of kid. And on the weekends, we are typically visiting my mom, or like we're going to go see my nephew and niece. Like, we're out doing stuff. But this weekend we were like, we didn't feel good. We had a cold, and I was like, let's just sit down, rewatch Over the Garden Wall, and I'm going to stitch on this all day long. Towards the end of the day, I noticed my hands were getting weak. I was like, ugh, like something's going on there. A few years ago, I had carpal tunnel surgery. I don't know if you can really even see the scar here, but it's right there. I had a lot of like numbness and tingling in my fingers. We tried all the tricks in the book, but they were like, let's go ahead and surgically like sort this out. had the surgery, was fine. You know, you lose a little bit of grip strength when that happens. But over the years, I've gotten it back. Everything's been good. But I noticed my hands were getting weak, and I don't know. I was like, oh, I overdid it. Let me go to bed. Went to bed, woke up the next day. I'm like, my wrist is killing me. My wrist is killing me, and my shoulder feels funky. I was like, oh, that sucks. I didn't stitch the next day, but then on Monday, the following Monday, I was like, oh, let me pick up my October mood, and I started to stitch, and I realized pretty quickly that my fine motor movement in my main hand, my dominant hand, it wasn't it. Like, I would try to like grip the needle, and you're like, you don't realize how much your fingers are doing maybe when you're stitching. If you ever sit down and like start thinking about it, your fingers are like moving a needle up, you're picking it up, you know, there's a lot of movements going on in your hands that you really need that fine motor skills to like do things successfully and do it quickly. I have not been able to stitch more than 20 squares before my hands are just like, no, ma'am, we're not doing this anymore. So it has actually been about 2 weeks now, almost 2 weeks since that has happened. I have a doctor's appointment today. We're going to go check it out and see what's going on. So I think I've actually gotten quite a bit done for that being like a week and a half of stitching since I last saw you, and the other little bit, I guess maybe a week of stitching. Now we're almost at 2 weeks of not. I think I would have gotten a lot more done. Having said that, let's sort out my hands first to make sure that I can continue to do the hobby that I love. I don't know. I'm complaining about it on Instagram. I also haven't just been as active over there because I have been truly kind of bummed out. You know, whenever you want to do something so bad, like sometimes like seeing other people do it, you're like, oh, I want to do that. I want to join in, and you can't. So I've kind of kept up with some Flosstube, but for the most part have shut off a little bit and have focused on other hobbies. So before I get into that part of the talk, that's kind of been what's going on. I did want to talk about some haul. This is going to be the last little bit of haul I show for some time. It's getting to that time of year, y'all. It's October. Christmas will be here before we know it. The holiday season will be here before we know it. The holidays are expensive. Let's just say it how it is. The holidays are expensive.
And there's no money in here.
I cannot be buying anything. So I bought a couple things. I think it's the last thing I'm going to buy for a little while, so I'm going to no buy. Join me if you wish. We can commiserate when we see new pretty things. I might get a ticket to the Lindy Stitches event. I really do want the Bauble books. So if I do end up purchasing something in the next month or two, that will end up being what it is. Otherwise, I don't think I'm getting anything in the near future. The things that I did get recently, though, is I placed an order from Carriage Samplings, and I placed a second order from Lindy Stitches. So we can look at all the goodies that we've got. I mentioned that I wanted to do a series after Starry Night. I have loved stitching on that black Ada, and I love the bright house on it. It is a vibe that I quite enjoy. And so I went back in the archives of the Carriage Sampling website. Side note, y'all should go look through some of those patterns, especially like the much older patterns. There is some great stuff in there that I feel like I don't see people stitching very often. And I don't know, you just might find a gem. And I definitely came across another one. It is another house. And very much in the same vein, I am looking at the cover photo here, and to these eyes, it's reading different than the actual flosses it calls for. So what I'm talking about is the 1803 Pennsylvania Sampler House. But you can see right down here, we have another house on black fabric. And I see slime green in this, don't you? Do you see the green? It's not green, baby. That's like a yellow color. The rest of this kind of looks like a maroony, like purple color to my eyes, and maybe just on this cover sheet. It's not. That's brown. It's a real brown house. So what I am thinking is it'll be another color conversion. I would like another funky little house on dark fabric. I think I could hang them together. It could be really cool. What I am thinking for this one, though, is a like dirty, darker purple color with probably another chartreuse, maybe green. And then that bird, we'll probably do a blue, but I do think that they would be really cool kind of side by side with some complementary colors. I like the idea of a like not funky bright purple. I am thinking still like darker purple, but maybe just kind of make it a little bit more vibrant. So we kind of get some cool contrast between the purple and the chartreuse that I want to use. It's limey green. And yeah, so that is 1803 Pennsylvania Sampler House. I will never start this until I finish the other Carriage House samplings project I've got going on, but I just think it will look cool together. When I was on the site, next thing I picked up is I did want to get a newer pattern. I know I'm sitting here saying like, go look at the old stuff, but I did want to pick up Stardust, also by Carriage House. Obviously it's on their website. The designer for the Pennsylvania Sampler House though is Kathy Barrick, and this one is by Marty Barrick. That family is talented. I know we all know them. It's like, you know, Marty, Kathy, and Liz Matthews, right? They got the creative sprinkles when the universe was cooking them up because they're all fantastic designers. I love everything they design. Marty does fantastic. Obviously, Kathy and Liz are fantastic too. I just really enjoy their patterns. I love this Stardust one. I think this is, I know, probably more of like a Halloween-y pattern. I think I could do this and have it up all year. If I pick the right fabric color. I don't think I would do it on orange, but we'll find a fabric eventually. We'll start this. Won't be anytime soon, but I wanted to have it in my stash. I picked up KW's Little Geode. Okay. I think this is a weird, funky little pattern, and I really like it. I like little robin designs quite a bit. Always have some cool stuff. And this pattern came out at Market this year, and I really like it. However, I'm gonna do a color conversion on this. Little Robin Designs released a different sampler at Market. Don't know the name, but here it is. I'm gonna grab a picture of it. All right, so you can see that this sampler has a lot more of those like rich, vibrant, like blues and greens and purples. I think that would be so cool with this design. So I will end up doing a color conversion here. The pinks and the oranges aren't doing it for me on this, but I was thinking about doing those like darker, like cool tone colors, vibrant cool tone colors. I just think it would be a really awesome way to stitch up the sampler. So in thinking about that, I started thinking about what type of fabric I would want to stitch it on, and I decided on a darker fabric. So not only are we testing my eyes and my hands with this one, I decided to go with a 32 count dark soil, and it's by XG Designs. I wanted to go, even though I'm not going to stitch this anytime soon, I wanted to pick this up already. I think, and I might be wrong about this, but when all the tariff stuff started happening, I know that there were quite a few fabric dyers or designers and, you know, just different folks around the world who would ship stuff to the US to, you know, LNSs would buy their stuff and, you know, resell it. With tariffs, I don't think as much stuff is coming over anymore. And I want to say that XG Designs might not be selling to the US anymore. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. It's just something like tickled in the back of my mind. And as I was thinking about it, I was like, you know what? Lindy Stitches still had some of this in stock. Let me grab it now in case it goes away later. So this is what I will be stitching this on, but with different colors. So whenever I get started, I'll keep you in the loop of what that color conversion looks like, but I am really excited to get it done. And I just love this. Like I said, cool pattern, cool colors. That's all. All right, guys, we have come to the end of the cross-stitching section of this Flosstube. Stick around if you want to hear what I've got going on hobby-wise. If you don't stick around, I will see you when I see you. We're going to hope that it's in about 3 weeks, and I'm going to come back with a clean bill of health, and these little fingies are going to be like working perfectly. Keep your fingers crossed for me. Send me all the good vibes. Okay. Now, if you are staying for the hobby portion, what have I been doing? Well, one is real depressing when you can't do a hobby that you love to do. So I have tried to focus on the things that I can do and do well. I have done quite a bit of sewing in the past couple weeks. I started off by batch sewing some project bags for friends and family for the holidays. I also have a good friend that I did some stitching for. She has recently influenced me and has been influencing me for quite some time to get more into journaling. It has been really great for my mental health to journal. I've tried in the past, it has never stuck. And one day she's like, listen, why don't you check out these videos and look at this, stuff called Hobonichi. And she got me hooked on the Hobonichi journals and all of the fun ephemera and stickers and stuff that come with it. So shout out to Megan. And she sent me a little care package recently of lots of different stickers and washi tapes, papers, Post-its. I mean, it was like Christmas. There was a whole bag of stuff. I was so excited to get it. And I had already been planning on sewing her up a couple little things and some fabric I picked out for her. And so I made a couple things for her. I made a project bag. She doesn't cross stitch, but I do think these bags are fantastic for iPads or for, in her case, journaling. Maybe she can put her journaling stuff down in it. So we did a project bag. I did 2 stacking trays, like little fabric trays, and just a small zip pouch. So you can put whatever you feel like putting down in there. But where have I been spending the most of my time? Girl, in bed, reading books as I do. So it's been me and my Kindle baby all the way right here. Even I've got my page turner and my my clicker. I don't know what it's called, my little clicker, and the and my Kindle. These things right here, lifesaver always. The tripod I'm using right now. It also holds my Kindle. And so let me demonstrate what I do every night. I get in bed. My Kindle is like, I'm like laying down. I want you to imagine like Dracula in a coffin. You're like laying there like this. And I have like a Kindle hovering like this far away from my face, just like this, okay? And then I like strap up, right? I'm like, okay. Sports mode. I got my sports straps on. I'm ready for a wild night. And then I sit there. I've got it on my hand. I cross my arms like a freak. And then I like lay back and I click and I read weird stuff on my Kindle. That's what I have been doing. The popcorn trend of books has not stopped. Here's what I've read. Again, there's an author. Her name is G. Bailey. I'm on a kick. I can't recommend it. Here's the thing. I feel weird about recommending what I consider popcorn books. Listen, it's either going to hit or it's not. You're going to, if you ever look at my Goodreads, you're going to see ratings for books that are maybe arguably not great books, but I'm going to give it 3 to 4 stars anyways, because you know what? The vibes are right in the moment. I will never reread these books. I will never remember these books, but girl, every night, catch me in my bed, like dang, the book Dracula, like sitting there, like clicking through and reading my Kindle. That's what I've been doing. I have been trying to listen to some audiobooks. I have been listening to, what is it called? We're in my notes. Obviously, I'm really loving them if I can't remember the name. Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer and Authority by Jeff Vandermeer. So these right here. I wanted to love these. I did like Annihilation. It's a sci-fi series, and it's about something called Area X. It's this area in the world that a weird phenomenon is happening. All of a sudden, kind of like, I don't think it's like a dome. You don't ever really know what's happening in this area, right? You just know there's some weird stuff going on there, and they keep sending these expeditions out into Area X to do these scientific experiments, whether it's biologists, linguists, anthropologists, psychologists. Like, they send all of these scientists out there to study Area X, and they all come back either not at all or changed and weird and kind of like no lights on, and it follows the story of a biologist as she goes to Area X, and it's her experience of what happens there and blah, blah, blah. The second book, Authority, is somebody back at like the home base of like the people that are sending scientists into Area X, and he is like a new, what is he? He's like the word is escaping me, director. He's the new director of the Southern Reach, and he is trying to get acclimated to this weird, branch of government that he doesn't know a lot about, and people seem to be reticent to give him information on as he kind of explores what has happened in previous expeditions to Area X. And so, listen, you don't really know what's going on at any point in time, and I think that's the point. I will say, while I read book 1 really quickly, book 2 has gotten so slow for me, and I have not been reaching for it. I know I need to finish it though. And that's what I've been up to. I have simply been trying to find things that, bring me joy. I will say my mental health has been pretty, like on edge all year, but recently, a couple weeks ago, I did end up turning off all of my news notifications on my phone. And before, I had been constantly on my phone, reading news updates, feeling stressed about the state of the world. Listen, I cannot recommend enough to turn off when you need to turn off. This has been the best couple weeks mentally that I've had in quite some time. Even though I am struggling with some weird, funky, like health things, I am mentally feeling okay about everything else. And that is simply because I don't know about it. Don't think it's responsible to stay that way always, but I do think a break is needed every once in a while. So if you find yourself in that spot, consider turning your notifications off on your phone and consuming less news. Consume other things, like bugs, like shifter smut. Like, do that instead, but maybe turn the news off for a little bit. All right, friends. Well, I'm done. I've been yapping for quite some time. I will leave you with this. Have a great rest of October. Cannot wait to be back in full and be stitching more and more, hopefully, with a clean bill of health. And I will see all of you soon-ish. All right, bye.